the regular Thursday evening digital man. See quite a few of you on the evening as well. I'll start at the top of the list with you, Nick, G4IWO. Good evening, and hope all is well with you. M0AG in the group.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, good evening, Jeff, and good evening to all our other members and friends who've logged in this evening, and also to those who are listening on YouTube now or later during the week. Yeah, it's been a very, very wild day up here where I live. It's been no more than about 14 degrees, occasional bits of sunshine, lots of rain, lots of wind, which is just as well as literally I've done very little radio in the last week since we decided to lay some new lawn in the garden, which required a lot of hard work. And I finally got it finished today and got taken away various bits and pieces, lots of gravel and so on that had to be moved. So I've kept myself fit this week, but only had occasional forays onto the radio. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO, group M0AG returning. Yes, fine on that, Nick. It sounds like it's been very, very active this week, and obviously not over to, but these things have to be done, don't they? So, yeah, and good to see you this evening. Over to Northern Germany now for our friends DL1BJW and DL8BDT. Over to you there, Mike, M0AEG in the group.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Very good evening to all. Hope everyone is well and okay. Yeah, we are coping well over here. We are much more lucky than you, I think, with the weather. It has been, today at least, it has been a very nice day with lots of wind, high winds, but lots of blue sky and sun in between the clouds, you could say. But it was a very agreeable WX with about 19 degrees centigrade plus, so that's not bad. It should be a little bit warmer at this time of the year, but there you have it. It's climate change, and we have to take that. But in the last few days, it has been raining quite a lot, and so the grass is rising, it's growing in the garden, and it's always too wet to go by and cut it. So yeah, I hope we will get a possibility to get into action with that because before it rises above 50 centimeters or something like that. But okay, it's nothing very important, of course. Yeah, we have been experimenting with some vertical antennas in the garden here, using the PAC 12, PAC 12 or JPC 12 as it is called, and then also using a broad telescopic whip about 5 feet long with the slide winder coils all mounted on the ground here. And now we are back again to our trusted Ribakov antenna. I have to admit, it seems to work best. So we've put it up again, and of course it's only the short version with 4.9 meters length, but it's doing very well, especially on 20 meters. And yeah, had some nice contact via SSB to North America with it 2 days ago, late in the evening. So there are lots of possibilities in the late evening now. Also in the mornings to Oceania, I think, but this seems to diminish a little bit. That's our local experience anyway. So much more to come radio-wise, but in the next over, passing the microphone now to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta 10.
Yes, especially my Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Very good evening to all of you. Good to be in the net this evening with you. And yes, as Mike said, there weather-wise a little bit hope here, especially for the next week should be quite well. So um, we're planning to be a little bit outside, well, radio-wise then. And last weekend there has been the ham radio where we wanted to go to, but unfortunately couldn't go. But there have been some excellent YouTube videos there, and especially for those who have just been once at Friedrichshafen at the ham radio and who know the locality there. There has been uh, an excellent YouTube video from an Austrian ham called Alpine Radio Waves, and he has walked through the area with his camera and everything step by step. And yes, also the guy who has run the channel Funkwelle has made a quite interesting video. It's not in real time. He has cut it a little bit, and so it's quite good to see. But the video of the Austrian guy is also partly in English, so this might be interesting. Yes, and radio-wise, with my G90 on my side, there are a few more possibilities now, and so I'm happy to be on the air yet. So I hand the microphone back to M0 AUG for the group.
Deal 8 BET with Deal 1 BJW in the group M0 AUG returning. Yes, fine on that, McIntyre. I look forward to hearing what else has been going on with the experiments and the Pac-12 or whatever it's called. And we've not been able to do much radio over here. The weather in my part on the west coast of England, very very windy, quite a lot of rain, and we've had quite a few other things going on as well. So we've not been playing radio at all, unfortunately. So we'll go down to Taunton now, and Dave, I hope you're feeling better from last week. G6 is in the group, M0 AUG. Sorry, from 2 weeks ago, I wasn't on last week, Dave. Good evening.
M0 AUG in the group, G6 NSN. Good evening to yourself, Jeff, and to everybody else on the net. And yes, Jeff, I'm feeling a lot better, thanks. It was mostly tiredness. Being sat in a ward for 8 hours, not my idea of pleasure. Very small ward, so I couldn't even really get up and have a walk. I was only actually in the operating theatre for about half an hour. But I came out and I was absolutely fine. But being in there for that long, you just get very, very tired. And unfortunately, that's a thing I suffer from. But other than that, yeah, everything's fine at this station. Apart from every time I turn my radio on, all I get is a blanket noise. So I went up to Clifton Down on Monday when I was in Bristol, and actually managed to speak to a gentleman in Switzerland and one in Italy, and I got my first ever QSL card from him. Like India, Quebec, 9, Mike, Quebec. I'm not really sure what he was doing. He was doing, and this is in Italian, so please excuse me, Amerigo, something I can't read, World Tour Award. Maybe our colleagues over on the continent will know what I'm talking about, because I ain't got a clue. But I've got to find out a way to respond to his QSL card now. Other than that, as I say, the radio is as dead as a doornail in this house. I've hardly ever turned it on, even first thing in the morning. All I get is static and nothing else. So until it clears up a bit, I'm really not going to bother. Otherwise, today hasn't been too bad apart from the wind. No rain, although we're forecasting tomorrow. So just hopefully do a good job and to fill up the water butts and soak the ground again. M0AUT in the group T6 ZSN.
ZSN in the group M0AUT returning. Yeah, fine on that, Dave, and I'm glad that you got sorted out in the hospital, even though you were in there for a little while in not best of conditions in there. Yeah, I'm fine on the radio conditions where you went up and you were able to work someday. We've on the north west coast up here on the far coast, listening very much on 40 and 20 meters. Quite a lot of stations have been coming in, apart from the Italian ones who are doing the awards there. But conditions seem to have been better on 40 and 20 in the last few days, when I've been able to work there. Still getting lots of quite heavy winds and a little bit of rain, although at the moment the sun is out, but the wind is still with us. So the forecast for the weekend, I don't know how that's going to be. Tomorrow's not so bad, but a few days afterwards, maybe not. Okay, there, over to Belgium. Before I start, Jeff, thanks very, very much for standing in last week and running that out. And I do appreciate that. And I was able to go to the meeting at the Oldham Club, and it was very, very productive, really, because they're obviously coming up towards an AGM, etc., and wanting for a new committee. And the problem is, like most clubs, that the people who've been running the club are all starting to get on in years. And really, there's got to be, if you like, a bit of succession planning and decide which way the committee is going and also the club and also who's going to join it. So it was quite an important meeting there for me to be on. So thanks once again, Jeff. Over to you. What's the November Tango in the group? M0AG.
GM4JKZ.
Good morning, November Tango. Very good evening to you, Jeff. No problem at all. Was my pleasure to do that. So a very good evening to everyone, and nice to hear, Dave, that you are okay now, so that things seems to be developing in the right way. Well, we had 20 degrees today with a lot of wind, but no rain. During the last couple of days, we had a lot of rain and a lot of wind, but today no rain. So out this afternoon and this morning, actually, and this afternoon, enjoying a little bit of the good weather. Condition-wise, I have been playing mostly on 6 meters. 6 meters on Sunday was quite interesting. I managed to work into Georgia, into Israel, into Lebanon, into Jordan, into the Canary Islands, and into Madeira, which is all more or less something like 3,000 kilometers from where I live here. So that was quite interesting. And then during the last week also, I managed to work on 2 meters into Charlie Tango, into Portugal, into Spain, and into Morocco. So that was also a real pleasure. That's all in FT8, of course. This was all in FT8 with my small antenna here. I have been playing a little bit with 3DV on HF on 60 meters. There is an English net going on for some English stations gathering together there from time to time, and sometimes I try to tune in, and I can see that I can have a perfect copy if the digital voice signal is about plus 4 dB signal to noise ratio. So if I have a plus 4 dB signal to noise ratio, the transmission is perfect. So that's were the experiments here on my side. So back to you, Jeff. Mike 0 AUG, the group for an 8 November Tango.
November Tango, the group M0AG returning. Yes, thanks for that, Jeff. And it's good for you still. You're getting into new places all over the place, and it sounds like you have some very, very good contacts there. I never cease to be amazed by the contacts you can get with your station there, and knowing that you've got the limited operating conditions that you have. But you make it work for you, and boy, do you get the results. So well done there, Jeff. Over to you there, Bob, in the US. It's great to have you on this evening, Bob. And I wonder how you're getting on with your boater. M4X8T in the group, M0AUG. Good evening, Bob.
Get through AUG November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango. Good afternoon, good evening to all. Glad to be aboard again this weekend. Although the weather here is pretty warm right now, it's 33 degrees Celsius, and that's not quite the high. We expect to see 34 before the afternoon is over here. So it's a bit warm, but on the other hand, it's sunny. So it's good also. The last few days, signals here have been getting a bit better. I'm not saying that they're anywhere near what they were before we had to go south, but they have picked up a bit. Enough where I've been playing with my 3-meter telescopic width out back, and I also have the 5-meter one, but I haven't tried that yet out back. I have worked a couple of more POTA stations. I'm still in the low 800s though. Since I've been home, conditions just haven't been right for me. So I'm somewhere in the low 800s still. But one of these days I'm going to hit 1,000. I've got to keep working on that. I did see Ken's note this morning, and I did try to tune on 20 meters, but of course that was nil here. So that was a no-go for me. And I haven't been using too much FT8 recently. Well, however, that's about the only thing that I've been hearing from most of the bands is the FT8 signals. So maybe I should switch over to that to try to build up my quota. And on the next go around, we'll talk about the battleship. Back to you, Jeff. Mike 0 AUG with November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango.
November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango in the group M0AUG returning. Yeah, fine on that, Bob. Look forward to hearing the updates on the battleship. I did see it actually packed on the video coming out of the dry dock. With other things going on, I've not had much time to do anything else, especially on the radio side, unfortunately. Fine, I'm looking forward to hearing where you're up to on the builder side, and anything that can be done to help you on that. The weather over in the UK has been quite mixed as well, Bob, as you probably gathered from the other contacts there. So some days it's good, other days it's absolutely terrible. So I don't know what's changing at the moment, but we get through it. We always get through it, don't we? Over to you there and up into the borders there, and it's good to have you on this evening, Keith. GM4 JKZ in the group, M0A to G.
M0AUG in the group, GM4JKZ returning. Yes, good evening, Jeff, and one and all. And it's nice to come up here into the shack. I've been fighting installing a new dishwasher today. So the old one you think would easily come out, but no, it fought all the way. Courtesy of the people that built this place, put the floor tiles down after they installed the dishwasher. So the easiest way to get rid of the legs out of the way was with a wood floor. So that's why I got the old one out. So the new one's in and working now, so I'm pleased about that. But boy, what a game. Should have paid for it to be installed. So radio-wise, well, weather-wise at the moment, we're about 20 degrees up here, 22 in the shack. And it's sunny, and there's blue sky out there, which is quite nice. It was raining this morning. Every time we tooled up to take the dogs out, we had a downpour, so we had to play around the garden in between showers today for a change. Wife's had her shingles jab yesterday, so she's a bit very tired and very lethargic at the moment, which is one of the side effects of it.
So it's improving those. So that's good. And good to see Dave's back with us as well. And yeah, radio-wise, the only thing, well, a couple of things. Strangely enough, when was it, on the 30th, I was just having a listen around FT4, and a new Australian station for me just popped up. Managed to work him, but he disappeared again, all within the space of about a minute and a half. That's VK2NBK, Bob Gaston, which was interesting, looking at the way the bands are working for me up here, opening and closing quite rapidly. But the only other thing I've been working or looking at was, as Jeff knows, is the Ham Shack. So I'm looking at that now, and that's brilliant. You've done all the work for me. Thanks for that. Right, I'll put it back to you there then, Jeff. M0AUG with the group before I waffle on too much from PM4JKZ. PM4JKZ in the group M0AUG turning in fine, Mikey, and sorry to have had the battle with the replacement dishwasher. These things happen, aren't they? People who fit these things in take no regard for the people who've got to change them in later times. I must admit there was a contradiction to that. We moved into this property about 7.5 years ago, and earlier on this year, our fridge freezer failed, and it was covered on insurance, and the insurance company offered us to look around and see what there was. And the unit that I chose to replace it, I took all the measurements, etc., and it looked exactly as if the old one could come straight out and the new one could go straight in. Would you believe, on this occasion, that's exactly what happened. So the engineers weren't here very, very often, and they simply took the old one out, took it away, and installed a new one in the same place. So we're so lucky in being able to get a virtually identical replacement for that. But yeah, I know we've struggled in the past with things where units have changed, and you've got the sort of modified kitchen unit to take it, so sympathy with that one there. It's good to have you on the TV, Keith. Back to the top of the list again now. G4IWO is the group
M0 AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, good evening and welcome to everyone else on this evening. Just taking a couple of the comments there, first of all, to Mike and Adriana. I hope you've been having fun with that pack antenna. I actually think the design of the pack antenna is very good with the coil further up, and gives a great deal of flexibility and very, very good resonance. So it'll be interesting to see how you get on with your experiments. As to Parks on the Air and Bob, I'm sure you'll get back to it, Bob. I mean, I've really loved it. It's just so depressing when I think that, you know, a week ago, I was up on a local hill next to a reservoir, Blackstone Edge, only just a few miles up the road from where I live on the Pennine Way. And it was, you know, glorious 29 degrees Celsius, absolutely hot, and a gentle breeze. It was a pleasure to spend 3.5 or so hours up on the hills with the radio. This week has been completely and utterly different. You know, so cold, we've even been tempted to turn our heating on in the evenings because the house has got so cold. So there is a difference. I have been on the radio, and I've worked several stations into the US and lots around Europe, all on CW. You know, the conditions have been okay-ish, but nothing like they were a few weeks ago, sadly. But I'm sure they'll come back. I mean, we are still in the summer where, of course, we get a lot of absorption, don't we, in the ionosphere, and that means that we're struggling to get our signals to bounce around the planet in the way we would like them to do. But it'll come back. And the other very good bit of news is that Logbook of the World has come back. I do use that. I do like the features in that, and it's good to see the contacts recorded on there. which is great news, especially a few new countries for me on the 12 meters and 15 meters that I made a few weeks ago. So back to you, Jeff. M0AG in the group, G4IWO.
Zero AG returning. Yeah, a bit of a change from when you dropped on the hill last week, Nick. And we did see the photograph and all the things on the YouTube channel there. And obviously you had to retreat after about 3.5 hours before you got baked up there. So it's a bit of a change this week. And yeah, I don't have anything on FT8 or FT4. As far as digital concerned, digital voice is the only thing that I use just on this net and on the older net, which is a good way of keeping in touch with everybody from there. And yeah, it's good to hear that you've been able to actually get out and do something in the garden as well, but also work a few contacts on CW. And yeah, I forgot what the other item was that I was going to talk, just mention that you picked up, but I'll catch up with you next time round. DL1BJW with DL8BDT in the group, M0AG.
Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. First of all, Jeff on 8 November Tango, congrats to your achievements in FD8. It's always amazing to hear the results you get. I'm a little bit jealous, HI. And Dave, G6ZSN, very good to hear about your improvement health-wise. And Bob, N4XAT, I saw your call sign popping up on reverse beacon network on the cluster there. There was a CW sign or signal in the early evening, in your early evening, East Coast time, yesterday, I think. It was very interesting because the logging station from the RBN system was twice the German station, so perhaps you could be heard by my station as well. Let's try and find out. Okay. Radio-wise, otherwise, yeah, I've been working with the NFET half-wave outside in the garden. And had a very nice contact on SSB on 10 meters. Yesterday was Lima United 1 Delta X-ray. It was the only station I could receive on 10 meters at this time, late afternoon. But it came out loud and clear, and he gave me a good signal there. That was on SSB. Then I was working the indoor dipole we have put up in the loft for 6 meters, and working Oscar Yankee 1, Oscar Foxtrot, the Faroe Islands between Scotland and Iceland, on 6 meters in SSB. That was also very nice. I think that was at the same time which Jeff mentioned being very good at the last weekend. And it was very astonishing because I not often get stations on 6 meter in SSB, more on FT8 there. And yeah, the highlight for me was something with the PAC 12 antenna, the PAC 12 or JPC 12 antenna. As you perhaps remember, we've got 2 of them, and I think I already mentioned that we would like to experiment with the 2 antennas, using them, one as a director, one as a driven element, and another one in 3.4 meters distance as a not attached, not linked reflector antenna. And we did just that. With that, I'm not sure if that was the cause of the results there, but it did actually give very good results with Australia. First, I worked SSB with Victor India 60 IOTA on 20 meters in the morning, and it was a real nice QSO, only a very short one, but he was very much sought after, of course, but it was okay. And he gave me 5 and 3, and I could give him 5 and 4. He was only using 100 watts, but a very good antenna, of course. And the second Australian was VK2 Golf Romeo. Another time I've worked him before. And now I worked him again on CW on 20 meters in the morning, and it was also a very strong signal, and he gave me a good report there. That these two Australian stations, we worked with the parasitic element antenna, which I described earlier, and which was built up following the instructions of Zulu Lima 3 X-ray Delta Juliet Brian from New Zealand, which I mentioned in the last meeting, I think. Yeah, that was very interesting. So passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for group. Yes, also from my side, Dave. It's very good to hear that you are a little bit better now, and this is very good to hear. And Jeff, congratulations to your results, especially to the results on 2 meters and FT8. Amazing, quite amazing. I did some exercises, some tries in FT8 with the setup that Mike mentioned with a Pac-12 antenna, and I used my True SDX with also only 2.5 watts, and the Pac-12 and the parasitic antenna, and yes, I think for 2.5 watts was quite nice. I worked all over. I was heard all over Europe, also the far north of Norway and south of Italy. Was quite interesting. And yes, I think now when our antennas will remain outside, there are several thunderstorms during the weekend. So I don't know if they will be further on set on. So if they are on, I think I'll try FT8 again. So I have the microphone back to M0 AUG for the group.
BDT with DL1 BJW in the group, 0 AG returning. Yeah, fine on that, Mike. And you two are like Jeff. You don't half get some good results with difficult conditions. And all good luck to you. You do have the opportunities, and you do take them, even with using the two Pac-12 or JPC 12s, whatever they're called. I think it's the same antenna, isn't it, really? I really haven't ever had a go on the FT4, FT8, and I'm not sure that I want to give it a try, to be honest with you, but I am sometimes tempted by the results that all you others keep on going there. I've just picked up an email from Andrew, M0ROL, who's not joining us this evening. He's going voting with his wife, so he's probably going into the pub afterwards for a pint, I would think. I don't know, Dave. What are your comments on that one? Over to you, G6 and ZSN in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG, G6 ZSN. I'm not sure, I'm afraid, Jeff, because I haven't seen him since last week. I went round there about another matter, I think it was Wednesday, but yeah, had a frequent talk. But yeah, I don't know, and unfortunately I haven't had any contact with him. I suppose I better ring him tomorrow. HI, and sympathise with him for voting and hope he got over the problem very soon. HI. Thanks everyone for your support. Unfortunately, due to one of my medical conditions where I jerk very badly, I have to have a general anesthetic for things where normally a person would have a sedative or a local, which is why I have to spend all day in hospital rather than in and out within a couple of hours. But that's my body's fault, nobody else's. And at least the surgeons work with me and are happy to do the general. So it's one good thing. Jeff, yeah, I'm like M0AUG. I might have to try this FT8 because it's dead on USB. So I might look into it a bit further and give it a try one day when I'm sat at home doing not a lot, which isn't very often at the moment, I'm afraid. But it does sound interesting, and at least then the radios will still be getting used, which is better than just sitting there gathering dust. M0AUG in the group, G6 ZSN.
Yes, fine on that, Dave, and I'm glad that you got yourself back out of hospital and such now. If you do decide to start listening on FT4, FT8, a good friend of mine from the Oldham Radio Club, John G for the SAO, because he's got very severe antenna restrictions at his QTH, he spends most of his time on either FT8 or FT4 these days. I know Jeff has worked. I know Nick has worked him on sideband as well, and also on FM, I think, because they don't live too far away from each other. But basically, he's just a FT4, FT8. Sorry, I had to remember just then after the cough. You don't want to hear all that. Over to you there, Jeff, and everybody's amazed by the things that you get up to up there, Jeff. And just before I forget, I'm away next week, so Jeff is asked him to take over the net again next week. So I'm very pleased you're taking that as well, Jeff. Oscar November 8 November Tango in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG group over 8 November Tango. Yeah, okay. First of all, a very good evening also to people on the YouTube this evening. So I hope people are joining there also, and I'm sure they are. This evening I try to follow Ken and Echo Alpha 5. It doesn't hold activation on 50 and on 50 meters. I hardly hear him. I recognize his voice. It's by his voice that I knew that it was him, but I could hardly follow his QSO. But anyway, nice he is back in Echo Alpha, and I hope maybe some other evening I will be able to make QSOs. By the way, thank you also, Mike and Adriana, for the information about the ham radio and Friedrichshafen. I will try to catch up. Sometimes I'm looking to the Funkwelle YouTube channel, which is quite interesting. So I will try to look that up. And nice, congratulations on your experiment with the two parasitic antennas. Very nice. I think also you make also some very good QSOs there, Mike and Adriana. I think VK is not, but of course it's in the early morning. I'm mostly in the early morning, I'm mostly in bed. But anyway, you made some very, very nice QSOs there to VK and also to Skorianki on 6 meters and so on and so on. And by the way, in our national magazine, there was quite an interesting article about the Rybakov, the famous Rybakov antenna in Dutch and French. So if anyone wants to have a copy, just send me a mail and I can send you a copy, no problem at all. So that quite interesting observations there. And the guy who wrote it did some experiments with the different lengths and also with an earth and with radios and things like that. So quite interesting, I think. And Bunkers on the Air is starting off here in Belgium. I discovered that they have about 250 bunkers listed here in Belgium, so that's quite impressive. Some of them are not that far away from where I live, so maybe I will give that a try also one day. So that's quite interesting. And I would surely um, motivate you, Jeff and Dave, to try some FT8 or FT4 or even GS8, which is more a keyboard to keyboard QSO, where you can have a real QSO just like with Ritty in the old times. And Ritty is still alive in the weekends, like Keith is experiencing also with some contests and so on. And I also really enjoy that to take part. I think this is one of the way forwards if you don't have good antennas, or if you are limited like I am and like Mike and Adriana are also actually with their small garden. If you don't have that much room for antennas, this is certainly a way to get some countries into your log. Well, I've been pleased to work on that ham dashboard that I put on the WhatsApp group today. Because I think Keith started to discuss about it, and he saw that in the video, and I saw it in the same video, and I made a adaptation of that to my own needs, and it's up to all of you to use that, to download it and to use it. It's very easy. Actually, it's not more than a web page, but with quite some interesting information for all of us, and I even give it a Denby Dale Amateur Radio Society swing. So there is some information from our club there also, which is available to everyone and very easily usable. I have that on my screen nearly permanently, and it's very nice to see conditions, see what's happening 6 meters, for example, and so on and so on. So that's a little bit the story here. Back to you, Jeff. 90 AUG, the Grupo in 8 November Tango.
November Tango in the group M0 issue returning. Yes, fine on that, says yeah. I did see some things coming through on the WhatsApp group, but we've been too busy with other things to be able to even look at those. But I will go back to them, and thanks for the tips on that one. That sounds very interesting. I don't know whether I would ever take FT8 or FT4, and it's something that personally doesn't appeal to me. I know a lot of people use it, otherwise the band wouldn't be so busy as they are now. And I think a lot more people have gone down that route, particularly with the band conditions altering at all. You've only got to go on to 6 meters sometimes, and see how much is flooded with digital things and everything else. So see how we go on that one. I can't promise I won't do. I can't promise I will. Over to you there, Bob. Look forward to hearing about the battleship now. November 4 X-ray Alpha Tango in the group. Mike Sierra Alpha Uniform Golf.
Alpha Uniform Golf, November 4 X-ray Alpha Tango. First of all, especially for Mike and Adrienne, a friend of mine from Buxtehude was at Friedrichshafen, and he was interviewed. It's a 26-minute or so interview, and excuse my German, but the station, it looks to me like it was Foxtrot 74, and excuse my pronunciation again, it looks like it was Sudiker Westerwald did the interview. And you could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's an interesting interview. It's DL1 HBL, and he is the editor and a senior member of the MF Runde group there in Germany. As I say, it's in Deutsch, but I know that you would have no trouble understanding it at any rate. And the ham dashboard, Jeff, very interesting, very interesting. I did download it. I have to play with it a little bit, but I did download it. And MXX did a wonderful job on that. Now to the battleship. Brian put out the word yesterday. The battleship finally has been able to open. We were having trouble with our hotel provisions. We got the electric, I think I told you that last week, but we were having trouble with water and sewer. Apparently they have those corrected, so the battleship is open to the public as of late yesterday. And Tom and I do expect to be on this Saturday, about 1300 Zulu if things go right. We'll try to open up the stations, and of course we'll start out in CW. But if anyone is out there that is interested in an SSB, providing the bands allow us, I certainly would do SSB. And normally, about 2 hours after we get there, I have to get along with the local military academies. So at that time, I do go SSB definitely, and that frequency usually is around 14,338. But when we start out, I always start out in CW. Tom usually starts out on 30 meters GW, and I usually start out on 40, around 14,052, and then I'll work towards 10, depending on what's open. But normally I always start out on 40 or on 20 meters if I can, around 14,052. So anyone that's interested, like I say, a few minutes after 1300 Zulu, normally we do get on the air. Let me see if I have anything else written down here. Nothing important apparently. So back to you with Jeff in the UK. M0 AUG and 4XAT.
And 4XAT in the group M0 AUG returning. Yeah, thanks, Bob. It's really good to have you back on the match again. I know you were on certainly 2 weeks ago when I was on, and possibly last week when Jeff was. So from what you're saying, instead of doing FT4, FT8, maybe I should brush up on my CW, which is very, very rusty. The last time I used it, this was to pass the RE many years ago to get my full license. It was. I've never used it. So maybe that's another route for me to look at there, Bob. So you prompted that one. But you know, we've got things going on at the moment, and obviously time is committed in other areas as well. And we're having a few days off next week as well, which is why Jeff is taking me and then again for us. Over to you there, Keith, again, TM4. Jack, you're in the group, M0EG. M0AUG, the group GM4JKZ. Okay, that's fine. Well, so you'll pick up on CW again. The one I've been, believe it or not, listening to again over the last couple of weeks is LCWO. It's the North Code. It's a free website on lcwo.net. And you can log yourself, or you can print it, obviously log yourself in, and a good variety of ways of receiving. So I thoroughly recommend that one. And I think I'm up to about 8 letters at the moment. But I've spent most of my time recently down in the workshop dealing with wood and various bits and pieces. That's the main things I've been doing over the last week or so. And apart from, I've built myself a 21-cell LiPo battery, courtesy of Temu and their discounted prices. Yet to see how good it is, but it's gone together quite nicely. I treated myself to one of those small battery-powered handheld welding tools, which for the price, it's pretty good, I must admit. So I need to weld them all up with the nickel injectors rather than fight with the solder. We all know what it's like trying to solder the top end of a battery. Anyway, right, one thing I forgot to, I should mention is, don't forget, it's the British Grand Prix this weekend, Formula 1, Channel 4. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, that's what I'll be glued to whilst it's on. And Mike and Adriana, the parasitic antenna, I thought I got a spare, a broken command pole, which I could put a shorter pole up. But the problem I've got is the other half would not be very happy because I'd have to mount it in one of the flower beds because the patch of grass that antenna's on, if you look at my PRZ.com page, is quite small and round. So I shan't be doing that, I don't think. Okay, I think that's all the. Oh yeah, Logbook of the World. Back on. It's interesting that I tried to upload the information onto geodit.com. It failed. I tried again, and you now have to wait 100 minutes instead of the old-fashioned 10 minutes. And I presume that's because they're still trying to recover. So just be wary on that one in case you're trying to upload information from it. Okay, I'm looking at Ham Shack here, and Troppo is fascinating to look at. I must admit that Troppo screen. A little bit has just come up across Scotland, so but minor. Oh, that's gone again. So there we go. Okay, back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG with the group EN48KZ. More Jenkins, this was the group M0 AUG journey. Yeah, fine enough, and I made a note of that. CW, which was lcw.net. Q, thanks for that. Yeah, another one star, I think. Right. I don't know where we are for time and what people have got left to discuss. So, what I'm going to do, Nick, I'm going to skip you off this time around in case everybody else start to wrap up at this stage. It's up to you. I don't mind carrying on if people have got enough information to come from another round. If you wish to call it a draw this time round, then that's fine. So we'll take you from there. And if you don't mind, Nick, I'll bring you in the end, just in case you were doing the finale again. So Delta Lima 1, Bravo Juliet Whiskey with Delta Lima 8, Bravo Delta Tango, M0 AEG.
Yeah, Delta Lima 1, Bravo Juliet Whiskey. First of all, Bob, you are correct. I know the video you mentioned from the local ham radio group Foxtrot 74, which is called Südlicher Westerwald, or Western Forest. it's an area here in the western part of Germany. And I know the video, but I haven't been watching it up until now. But it's in line, so to speak. And yeah, one word to the parasitic vertical antenna I mentioned. There are two things you have to see with it. First, the distance between them should be 3.4 meters, 340 centimeters, and the driven element should be tuned to the working frequency you will use, and the parasitic element, which works as a reflector behind it, has the working frequency tuned to 5% lower than the reflecting frequency tuned to 5% lower than the working frequency. On 20 meters, that would be about 700 kilohertz down. So I've tuned the first antenna, the driven element, for 14.1 megahertz, and the second antenna to 13.4 megahertz, and it seems to work. Okay, so because of the time, make this my final and say thank you very much for your company, for the nice meeting and all the good information and very interesting facts there to know. And yeah, I hope we will meet again. Sorry about that. We will meet again in next week on the same frequency, so to speak, at the same time, and looking forward to it very much. So thank you for your company, and thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net. Excellent work. And I'm passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango with the final. Thank you very much for this interesting evening, and thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net. was a pleasure as always. So I wish you all a nice weekend, good DX, and hope to see you down the log or next week on the Zoom meeting or on the digital net. So I hand the microphone back to M0 AUG for the group. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Late EDT with DL1 BJW in the group M08 returning. Thanks as always, Mike and Angela, for your contributions there. Between yourselves and Jeff, Belgium, you do seem to manage to work some marvellous contacts with limited facilities. All good to that one. I'm behind on picking up the Zoom meetings. In actual fact, we've had things going on the last two Zoom meetings on the Wednesday evening. So I've got 2 episodes which I need to catch up with on the YouTube channel. And I'm missing next week as well because obviously we're going to be away. So we'll catch up with it, though I always do. And hope to get on when I can get back on the Wednesday evening and have some normality and join the Zoom group as well. So thanks for bearing with me. I'll have to do that one thing. These things have to be done. Over to you there, Dave. G6 the group M0AUG for your final, Dave.
M0AUG, G6LSN. Thank you once again for running the net, Jeff, and your usual deficient self, and I'm getting very tongue-tied because I'm getting tired. Jeff, 08, I will probably look into FT8, but like AUG, I'm not a great lover of that sort of thing, but get some usage out of the radios rather than being static will be a bonus. So I'll have a look over the week and hopefully report something back next Thursday. G6LSN, 7 all, and hopefully catch you next week. M0AUG in the group, G6LSN.
G6LSN in the group, M0AUG returning. Fine on that, Dave, and hope you keep well, and I'll catch up with you in 2 weeks. And as I mentioned, I'm away next week, so Jeff asking the member 8 member tango is taking the team. So thanks again for that, Jeff, as well. And, yeah, we were supposed to be going away in April this year for a few days, but obviously we had to cancel that with things that were going on health-wise at home. And we're very, very much looking forward to this break next week. And we'll just make up for it a little bit with everything that's been going on in the neck of the woods, so to speak. So there we are. I'll see you in a couple of weeks there, Dave. Look forward to that. Andrew might be back by then. He'll probably finish his voting at this point. So what do you feel final? Yeah, please after November 8th. Have a tango in the group. M0AUG.
M0AUG, the group by 8 November 10. Yeah, okay. Yes, no problem at all. And I would say thanks for sharing the net here and enjoy your trip next week. I hope you really get some tracks there. Absolutely, that would be super. Okie doke. And well, I would certainly recommend using digital modes actually in general. You know, FT8 and FT4, you can fill in your log very easily with all kinds of peak stations. But I still think the nice thing as a bonus, you also get PSK31, which is also a keyboard-to-keyboard mode. You get Olivia, which is quite robust and quite fascinating. You get fax. You can receive fax images, weather reports, and so on from maritime radio stations. All this kind of stuff is coming to you if you are configuring your radio as to do some digital modes, and it's a whole new world which will be open to you. So I really, really think this is very, very, very fascinating. So you can even do CW with it. Okay, with FLDG, for example, you can do all these kind of and slow scan TV. You can do slow scan TV. So it's fascinating. Okay, I would say safety trees to everyone. Thank you very much, Jeff, for sharing this. Enjoy your trip next week, and I will enjoy to all meet you up next Thursday. So I'm really looking forward to that. I would say safety trees to all, and I hope to catch you again. And I certainly will look out for you, Bob, on Saturday afternoon when I have the time. I will try to see if I can catch you at CW. You never know. That would be nice. It's a long time ago we have done this. So all the very best, and I hope to catch you all again. Mike 0 AUG, the group, 08 November Tango.
Zero AUG telling. Yeah, fine on that, Jeff, and thanks for all your contributions to this. I don't know whether you'll ever sit down to doing digital or not. I'm getting a bit long in the tooth for all that, but to change it. But I hear what you say, and I might give it a look and see where we go from there. But even though I work on digital on the D-Star and the C4FM, I'm an HF man at heart, and we'll see where we go from there. But obviously, with the limited conditions I've got here, the only chance I'm doing real HF is when I go down to the Oldham Club with the TH11DX, etc. So that was quite good last Thursday when I was down there at that meeting. So thanks again for joining us, Jeff, and best wishes to you and Anne, and we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks' time. Over to you there, Bob, for your finals, please. November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango in the group. Mike 0 Alpha Uniform Golf.
Mike 0 Alpha Uniform Golf with the group, November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango. First of all, Dave, keep well. Good hearing you. Second of all, I forgot to mention, Mike, I was on last evening. In the evening, it's much better. I did make a couple of quota contacts last evening. The Panzer seemed to do better in the evening, and I did make a couple of new ones, I believe, last night. Let's see. Otherwise, I agree with Jeff. When the Panzer dead, usually FT8 and N4 are available if nothing else is. So they are there, and it is a way at least to keep active when the bands are relatively dead. Usually FT8, I hear FT8 almost all the time. So and mostly on most bands, it's surprising. On 40 through 10, usually I can hear FT8. So there you go. Even though, like I said earlier, I haven't worked it recently. The next thing is, I had mentioned maybe last week or the week before that we acquired several new ANURT 23 transmitters for the ship while we were in dry dock. And one of those is going to FATCON 1. And in FATCON 1, we have another Jeff here. And that Jeff is a RIDI man. And I would presume that the reason that one is going to FATCON 1 is so that Jeff can use it for RIDI. He has been experimenting with RTTY, and I would presume that eventually he'll get it on the air. That particular transmitter is capable of up to 1,000 watts. It goes from 2 megs to 29 megs. So he will have no problem getting on the hand bandwidth. So keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll have a little RTTY a little more often from the ship. We have had it on just before we went into dry dock. Jeff got it on a few times. But maybe eventually we'll be able to get it on permanently, and that would really be nice. Let's see. That's about all I have here. Jeff in the UK, thank you for running the net once again, and have a good week next week. And we look for Jeff in Belgium next week to run the net. And thank you very much for running it. I look forward to it every week. Back to you, Jeff in the UK. Mike 0 Alpha Uniform Golf, November 4 X-Ray Alpha Tango, and 73 to all.
member for Alfred. Zero AUG returning. Yeah, I know you like to use the alphabetic alphabet there, don't you, as well there, Bob? So, thank you for joining us again. It's really good to have you back in the fold here. And fine, RTTY rings bells many years ago, 30 odd years ago, when I joined the Oldham Club. We used to have quite an active package in our TTI section there. So, you know, that's interesting to hear that might be coming back again in some form or other. So, look forward to catching up with you again, Bob, in 2 weeks' time. And in the meantime, I look forward to taking that. Over to you for your final key third. Look forward to taking that in the group. And zero AUG. M0 AUG in the group, GM4JK for my finals, yeah. I love it. Being an ex-telex engineer, of course. And Bob, yes, I will certainly be listening out for you on Saturday on 14338 or thereabouts. And if you do get the Ricky station on, I shall be delighted, because quite often I do tune the bands looking for Ricky stations, and they are so few and far between that, you know, if you don't sit on a frequency and listen for, you know, a minute or two, you can miss it. And of course, if you tweak the band, that's the problem. So I don't know if your the Battleship website publishes the frequencies you're going to be on and the times that some of the Italian stations do. That would be really useful for looking up. And on the digital side, Slow Scan TV, yes, of course the ISS download on 2 meters. There is pictures from time to time, which is interesting, both of Russian origin and American origin. So I'm a true digital person, as you can probably realise, having been brought up with Ricky for such a long time. But I'm going down the CW route again to see if after all these years I can remember and master it again. Anyway, thanks for running the net again tonight there, Jeff. Very much appreciated. And I'll say 7-3 to all. And have a good week. See you next Wednesday at the talk. M0 AUG with the group GM4JKZ in the Scottish border. GM4JKZ in the group, M0 AUG returning. A bit broken up on the last over there, Keith. Almost, I'm not saying it is. It's almost sometime you were overdriving the hospital there. But not saying that's what it is, but we were able to get most of it anyway, and do appreciate you joining the next evening. And over to you then, Nick, for your finals, please. G4IW in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, it's good to hear everyone this evening and their stories. First of all, a good evening to Andy Cowley, 2E0REE on the net, and also to Rachel M1AYG, both of whom have popped up on the net just to say good evening to everybody, which is good. In terms of things I haven't done yet and want to do, Jeff, you're playing with FT8 and FT4 on 2 meters is something I'm yet to do, but I definitely am going to give it a try. I haven't got a horizontal polarized antenna at my new location for 2 meters, just a vertical. And it occurred to me the other day, why on earth shouldn't I use that vertical antenna using my 705 and operate some FT8 there and see what the results are. So you've inspired me, and I will give that a bit of a go. Jeff, I think the work you've done on the ham dashboard is great, and I think it's something we ought to develop for use as a club. I think it's a great way of displaying really useful information on a screen. And so many of us are using very big screens now at home with their radio equipment. I've got 2 32-inch monitors here in front of me, so 2 big screens, and it's great to be able to display lots of different things at the same time. And the ham dashboard stuff is exactly right for that. In terms of meetings coming up, we've got next week on Wednesday, we've got our talk on the story of Gerald Marquez, G2NM. It's going to be, I'm pretty sure, a fascinating story. The author of the book is coming to talk, and I know he's got a fantastic amount of information and lots of wonderful photographs to share with everybody. And then 2 weeks after that, later in the month, we have Lorna from the Radio Society of Great Britain, who's going to talk about the RSGB antenna notebook, which she was the editor of. And Lorna is also going to talk about how she got into amateur radio and what she enjoys in amateur radio. And it's the first time she's given any online talk. So please be very nice to her in a couple of weeks' time when she speaks. But I know she's got a good story to tell. I've seen what she's going to be talking about, and I know that people will be encouraged and like to listen to her story. And as we've got, you know, some really good YL operators, ex-YL operators here in the club, not just Adriana and Rachel, but we've got a couple of others as well. And it's good to see us having a YL speaker at the radio club as well. So we've got 2 great talks coming up this month. So on that note, can I wish everyone a very, very pleasant evening. It's great to make contact with you, and looking forward to next week's net, and looking forward to getting out portable again. 73s everybody, and have a great evening. M0 AUG in the group, G4IWO.
Group M0 AUG telling. Yeah, thanks for all the updates there, Nick. And I knew you'd want to finish off the net, making people aware of what's coming on. As I say, I'm away next week, so I shan't be able to see the Joe Marquez one, but I'll pick it up on the YouTube channel. And the following week, I think you've got a committee meeting, and then we'll there on the 24th, just looking at the calendar. So I hope to be back in swing certainly on the 24th of July for that meeting. So thanks for joining the club this evening, Nick, and thank you for contributing all the good work you're doing on the YouTube channel and your social and poster and everything else. One thing that has come out of this, Bob, in the States, is that the Oldham Radio Club now have got 1 or 2 people interested in poster. So you might be hearing 1 or 2 of them on there. Some of them have always been into SOTA, but they're taking on poacher as well. So that's the direct feedback to what we've been telling them from the Denby Dale group. So thanks everybody for joining the net this evening. It's been a good net, and look forward to your company again in a few weeks' time. So M0 AUG in the group, closing the Denby Dale Amateur Radio Digital Net for another weekend. And 7-3 everybody, have a good time. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. 7-3.